All right, we're back, and we sincerely apologize for the break in transmission due to some network issues. But at least we're back, and that's the grateful, the thing we're glad for the most. So once again, we apologize for that little break in transmission. My name is Kofi Bartels. Before we went on the break, Andy Akpotive was on fire, and he was trying to tell us, how pathetic or what he thinks about the war against corruption of the Buhari administration, and he basically gave them an F9, and says it's not just about them, but it's also about the system that we have in place, and we don't have a system to ensure that people do not do what do not commit acts of corruption. And I agree with you, and because I believe that in the United States of America, where we all quote, always talking about America, America, America. It's not as if they are not corrupt or people don't want to steal money. They can't.
Absolutely.
They can't.
Yes.
You do it, you do something. You commit a crime, you do the time.
Absolutely.
Your man Donald Trump was shouting, I'm a president of law and order. I run a government of law, and he put in capital letters, was tweeting all over the place, even today. So I totally agree with you. Yes. For those who are just joining us, we're looking at the story of the former Minister of Petroleum Resources, DIEZANI Allison-Madueke. Madueke, yes. I believe she's married to former. No. She's not married to former Translation Minister.
No,
she's married to a naval admiral or officer. Okay, so this time, social media went agog because of the news circulating that the former minister, who is currently in the UK, had become a citizen of the Caribbean island or Republic of the Dominica in 2015. But according to the BBC, their fact checks show that this is not a new development. Though it's agog. I saw it on Pulse NG on Instagram the day it broke, and but it seems it's not new, because what the BBC said is that the investigation has been on for some time, that Al Jazeera did reveal last year how the minister collected or received a diplomatic passport from the Caribbean nation. So it was put out by Al Jazeera before now, though a lot of people are feeling it's a new issue, but it's been out there. The investigation connected, I think it's on YouTube. I think Diplomacy for Sale or something. The documentary is on YouTube. According to the investigation, it connected the Prime Minister of Dominican Republic, Roosevelt Skerrit, and Allison-Madueke to one apartment in New York, which costs $2.2 million. See, you see, when information comes out, when you hear the woman, has this apartment, this property, bought this in Dubai, has this amount of, how do people get into a country and loot like that? So if President Buhari says Nigeria is fantastically corrupt, should Nigerians really be throwing stones at him?
President Buhari or the Prime Minister of?
Sorry, the Prime Minister of UK, yes. But people threw stones at President Buhari because he agreed and even went out and talked about Nigeria and said that the country has corruption issues, and Nigerians were saying it was demarketing the country.
Indeed, Kofi, the corruption in this country starts from the very top. So, of what business has the Federal Executive Council with contract procurement and all of what has to do with contract? The procurement, there is today in our country such a thing called the Procurement Act, signed into law by, may so rest in peace, the then president of Nigeria, Umar Musa Yar'Adua. Goodluck Jonathan came and he did not establish the Procurement Council,
which was part of the law.
Yes, which is supposed to be the council responsible strictly for ensuring everything procurement, for ensuring everything contract, every of the infrastructure, if you may, that you wanted to build, it must go through the Procurement Council. Buhari came and said, I am the one who is Mr. Integrity. I am going to change things completely. And I thought that the first thing he would do to fight corruption, or as it were, nip corruption in the board, would be to establish the Procurement Council. That's already a law.
But he set up the Treasury single account.
So
I'm just saying.
So the Treasury single account is just one. So Kofi, if we would always come to the Federal Executive Council, to decide where we are going to put the rail lines, which company would address or would deal with us regarding putting the rail lines in the places we have agreed, how much these companies should be paid, then it means that we are just joking about corruption in this country. We're just joking.
So the culture is that, you know, you just hear that the contract has been awarded for the construction of so and so kilometers of road.
They tell us blah, this blah, blah. When they are briefing journalists in
at the end of Federal
Executive Council meeting. Is it not a joke? What other country, serious country of the world, do you see this kind of practice, Kofi? I challenge anybody to right now get on Google and find out whether the American council, the American state, will sit down and be discussing. To my mind, Kofi, I think what they just do when they sit down, that Wednesday or those Wednesdays that they sit down, whatever it is, it's just about how they say, okay, so the second Niger bridge, we are going to approve it for 60 billion. The rail line that is going to move from here, we are going to approve. That's all they do. But that's not the essence of government. Have you seen the robust arguments that you see on the floor, the British floor? The British when the prime minister
but all these countries you are naming don't have procurement councils. You don't really need.
They all do. They all do. They all have bodies responsible. The professionals, the different professionals are in these bodies. For instance, you have quantity surveyors, you would have engineers, you would have architects, you would have all of the different professionals who can tell that this is what this road should cost.
Is the Procurement Act not already in place?
It is, but guess what? Nobody is willing to even give it life. The so-called integrity government that came and sang to Nigerians that they were coming to change the corruption thing that Nigeria is known with and known by. They came and they are doing business as usual. So it tells us that corruption is.
Andy, you have, for instance, I've not heard about procurement council in the United States of America. And if you're joining us,
so you can Google, Kofi. You can Google.
If you're joining us, you can call in to be a part of our conversation. The number to call is 080-620-99556. We apologize. We had a little break in transmission, network issues. We had to reconnect the network, but we're back. Adi Akpotive is on fire as usual. Talking about DIEZANI Madueke or DIEZANI Allison-Madueke's issue, and of course her new appointment, and not so new appointment. Basically, it's been since 2015. In the Dominican Republic, and what it means for Nigeria and what you think about it. Please feel free to call 080-620-99556. 080-620-99556. I'll take it again. 080-620-99556. Andy, I have not heard of the any procurement council. You want to Google, please feel free. I like to see. I've not heard of a UK procurement council. And even if they do, Andy, who's to say that we need a procurement council in Nigeria? It's like telling me that every country needs a constitution to run. The UK doesn't have a constitution. They don't have a constitution, Andy.
They do. It's unwritten.
They have an unwritten constitution.
Yes,
sorry.
It is unwritten. But there's a constitution.
They have an unwritten. So
yes.
It's like telling me you need a written constitution, a document to run, but they have an unwritten constitution. Yes. So I mean,
there's a structure.
Must you have a procurement council for issues like this to be addressed?
So, Kofi, must you get into the pool without wearing the attire to get into the pool?
Must you get into the pool? If you want to,
so if you must get into the pool, you must wear the attire, the apparel that is suited for.
You can jump into the pool
and that you want to do in the pool.
You can jump into the pool.
Going there with your boxers, or you're going there with your swimming trunk. If you were going to get into the pool and you entered into the pool with your suit, everybody who saw you in the pool will have just one word for you: this person must be foolish.
But you can get into the pool with your suit if you wanted to.
So the way you would be defined as soon as you got out of the pool would be nothing that will be charitable. Okay. Everybody would say to you that this person must be silly to get into the pool with his suit and his tie. You must get it. There's a style to get into the pool. There's a style to go into the church.
There's a pattern,
There's a style. There's a pattern to get into the club.
Okay,
There's a style
this
to
is
do whatever it is that you
this
want
is
to
my
do.
point, Andy Akpotive. This is my point. Have a procurement council. What are they going to do now? Who are those who are going to man this procurement council?
So Kofi,
you know
Kofi-
where I'm going to.
yes, Kofi.
Who?
is
No, ask a question, bro. Who are those who are going to man?
humans, Nigerians.
Good. And you're telling me that these human beings who already have issues are going to appoint people who are going to police them?
So it's simple, Kofi.
Uh-huh.
If you wanted to fix certain things, who are the people who would be at water lines enforcing that traffic regulation? Nigerians also.
I'm not talking about Nigerians. I'm talking about the system. Those in the system.
The point is,
Are you telling me, Andy?
Yes.
That the people at the top who you're accusing of being corrupt, and because they've not created a procurement council as demanded by the law,
yes,
are going to now create it and put people there who are going to go after them
yes,
and
Kofi,
take the bread from their mouth.
Kofi, when opportunity meets with an intention, corruption or anything evil can take place. Once you do not create the opportunity, even if there was the intention to steal, it will be difficult. That's why I say, if you brought an American president to Nigeria to be the president of Nigeria, he would steal. You know why? Because everywhere he turns, he sees opportunity. So I'm going somewhere.
Therefore,
Kofi, I'm going somewhere.
All right,
everywhere
all
he
right.
turns, he sees the opportunity. If you took the Nigerian president as it is today, as terrible as our presidents have been, without apology,
take him to America.
yes, if you took them to America,
Yeah.
they would not be able to steal.
Become
You know
fantastic
why?
people.
Because of the system. What the Procurement Act therefore is the system that makes it impossible for you to be corrupt with procurement.
No, but I'm saying that we have laws. Some people have said, and I know you've heard this a number of times, lots of times.
That is not about laws.
It's not the absence of laws.
Yes, that is about the and I differ. I think that for us, it's about laws. Nigeria is this dysfunctional because we have very dysfunctional, very jaundiced, very asphyxiated laws that we are still operating in the 21st century. If we only would be able to fix our laws appropriately, that's what we are talking about restructuring.
I'll disagree to an extent. And Nigeria has enough laws to make things work fairly okay.
So let me give you a typical example.
In fact, Nigeria has some very fantastic laws that are amongst the best, even better than some countries we admire.
Yeah. Do you know the number of items that are executable under not the concurrent list, the exclusive legislative list? For instance, do you know why here in River State, Port Harcourt, at the Nkpolu Junction, that place had been that dysfunctional for years? Because of what we call Federal Road. If you go to Choba Junction today as I speak with you, you would see something that is worse than a gully right now on that road. Vehicles cannot drive through. You know why? Because what they call a federal road, the items that are contained in the exclusive legislative list, if you only push them to the concurrent and to the residual by an act of law, you would have been able to fix a lot of problems in our country. So you see why I say that law is even at the base of our problem. Because today as it stands, the laws are dysfunctional, are disjointed. They are not properly arranged such that we can get the best from them.
So you're disagreeing with those who are saying the issue is not the absence of laws, but it's the implementation. You're disagreeing with that.
I say that in our case, it is both the absence of law and the implementation of the laws that we have.
Okay.
It's both of them.
So the point I was making, and I want you to tell me if you agree or disagree with this point, is that whether you have a procurement council or not, it's not the issue.
It is.
It is the people who are in charge of the system, because they will put people there who will protect them.
It is. So
if you have a corrupt president, corrupt finance minister, corrupt Senate president, I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying if you have, would you expect them to put people there who will go after them?
So Kofi, who are the people running Dangote? Who are the people running banks?
Okay, so who will appoint?
I'm coming.
Who will appoint?
Let me just make this point.
Who will appoint those to be in the procurement council?
Regardless of who appoints it. Kofi, this is my point.
Because of EFC, you talked about EFCC.
Kofi, I worked in a bank for 4 years. I worked in a certain bank in Lagos, Obakran Avenue, for 4 years of my life. And I worked as an internal control officer. And in the period I was working as an internal control officer, there was something that challenged me. Okay. The first month I started working in that bank, I wondered why at the beginning of every day's transaction, the cash officer would take a lot of the cashiers into the strong room. We give them monies and say they should disburse. And at the end of the day, the cash officer will go on drinking a cup of coffee and doing our work. At the end of the day, the account would balance. And I was very interested in that process. And that was why I was interested in control in the first instance. I wanted to work in control department. What I saw was that it didn't matter whether they had laid hands of corruption on your head from your village. As soon as you mounted that seat as a cash officer, you understood that it was impossible for you to steal because there was a system that makes it impossible for you to steal. And by this system, a lot of us who are not bankers right now listening to me will not understand until you get to the bank. And you will wonder how that cash officers, cashiers, bulk tellers will be taking huge amount of money from people and they're not stealing. Those who are even in charge of the ATMs, they're taking huge amount of monies from people and they are going to load it in the different trays of the ATM. And you are wondering why they are not stealing. They are not stealing simply because the control of the bank is so strong that makes it impossible for you to take a 1,000 naira from a pack of 1,000 naira. That makes it impossible for you to take 1 unit of 100 naira from a pack of 100 naira. This is exactly what we are talking about when we speak to the issues of Procurement Act.
So
act is there and is implemented.
The point I was trying to make is this: the people who are appointing those to be in charge of this procurement council are politicians.
Yes.
And I'm saying, do you expect that they will put people there who will go after them? That's all. That's I'm asking.
It's not about going after them. I'm just saying that.
Or who will stop them from eating?
The people by themselves understand that even if they did not want to stop their godfathers from eating, they knew that it was impossible. So, for instance, if you were married to a banker, Bank X, who was a cash officer,
I was almost married to a banker.
Who understood that Kofi needed money. It didn't matter whether she was so in love with you, whether you were her head and her boss and her lord. She understood that it would be close to impossible to pilfer, to steal from the bank to give to you who is her lord, because there's a system that makes it impossible for her to steal. This is exactly what we are talking about. The Nigerian state is such that it permits everything and anything. That's why you can have NDDC. Once you were elected, once you were nominated,
free for
anything in NDDC, oh Jesus Christ, it was time for you to start.
Free for all.
It's free for all.
NNPC.
Once you were made a minister and you came back without building houses everywhere in Nigeria, even your village people will say that something is wrong with you. It means that indeed it is because the system permits it. Opportunity meets intention, crime takes place. Once there is an intention and there's no opportunity, it becomes really difficult. It's not to say that crime cannot take place, but it becomes extremely difficult for crime to take place. We are simply saying that fix the systems, make it close to impossible for you to steal. You would have less of stealing people, thieving people, and corrupt people in Nigeria, like we are seeing everywhere else in the world. It's not because they have better humans. It's not because the individuals or the humans living in Dominican Republic, the humans living in America, UK, the humans living in UK, that they are from, they threw them from heaven to come and serve them. No.
So
they are essentially the same humans.
How do you now compare this with the stance of the British government or legal system? I'm not sure which it is, in refusing to extradite Allison-Madueke to Nigeria?
So,
You
it's
know.
about if it was the American system that requested for such extradition, do you think that the UK system would have refused?
So you say we have to. It still comes back to us.
It comes back to us.
Okay, Andy, please hold the thought. Let's just read some comments here before we go on to the next few questions, and then we say our goodbyes. I want to thank those of you who've been on Facebook faithfully following this live stream, even after we had a one or two challenges. I can see a message from let's see, who is this? Nnamdi Udoba. Nnamdi Udoba, good evening to you. Thanks for your message. Ima James Ohohowe says, tell her that she can run from rain, but she cannot run from water. Are you about to do some village things or what? Okay. Imo Wakpan says she's getting another appointment when she still has a case to settle.
Unfortunately, in Nigeria, she will run from rain and from water.
At the same time.
At the same time. Unfortunately.
If I rain, will see her and run away.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Oh my!
Is reality
In
in this country. It's a food chain circumstance.
I am telling. Imo Wakpan says she's getting another appointment when she still has a case to settle in a country of birth, and the government here are quiet, and soon they will even congratulate her. I doubt that will happen. I'm sure they are licking their cleaning their heels by now. Okay, if you want to share your views, please call. I'm sorry I couldn't take some other calls because we're off the air for some minutes, about 2 minutes. Please call 080-620-99556. 080-620-99556. A small matter of Allison-Madueke, DIEZANI Allison-Madueke, one-time Minister of Petroleum Resources of Nigeria, who has been facing corruption allegations from the authorities of Nigeria. And of course, the country has requested her extradition from the UK to face charges or stand and defend herself in Nigerian courts. Now, this time, local media and people on social media have been circulating news saying the former minister, who is currently in the UK, has become a citizen of the Caribbean nation of Dominica, or the Dominican Republic. But checks by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, show that the gist is not new, and there has been an ongoing investigation by another foreign media organization, Al Jazeera, which revealed last year how the minister collected a diplomatic passport from the Caribbean nation. And of course, the investigation connected the Prime Minister of the Dominican Republic and the former minister of Nigeria to one apartment in New York, which cost $2.2 million. They also suggested that the former minister well, let's take this call before we continue. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Thank you very much for your time.
Kofi Bartels and my comrade, Andy Akpotive.
Sorry, come again. What did you say?
Yes, I said Kofi Bartels and my comrade, Andy Akpotive. I greet you.
I greet you too.
Good evening. Thank you.
Yes, this is Vincent calling from Port Harcourt.
Oh, Vincent, thank you for joining us.
Vincent of the Nekewe. Yes, I just want to hear a little view on what you are saying. First and foremost, I would like to start from the home front here, where we have found ourselves in a system where, you know, that has enabled corruption to thrive at all levels, from the classroom to the market, from the highway to the government offices, from the airport to just every facet of the Nigerian system.
Absolutely. From
the little child at home to the highest authority in our land, every person is immersed in corruption, and there's something that's really unfortunate. Like what Akpotive is saying there, you know, outside the country, it's not that the people will have better humans than ourselves. You know, every day we have record of people resigning from their position, having found to be corrupt. You know, from government officials to people that are holding, you know, agencies like the football association, FIFA, and all the rest of them. You know, we have people resigning, and you know, now what I'm saying is that the Nigerian system, you know, has made it in such a way that corruption is so endemic. Now, coming to the issue of Allison-Madueke, you know, there's something that you guys just said before I called in. If it were America that requested Allison-Madueke to be repatriated from UK, if they will not give them a listen here, obviously so, they will. Now, when the current administration at the center came with the change mantra, the first thing on top of their list was fighting corruption. But you can see how shameful and shambolic it has been so far. And then you think that there's any government around the world that we see us as a responsible people that are ready to change for the better in terms of setting up systems to fight corruption, including the person that's at the aim of affairs as far EFCC, the agency to fight corruption in Nigeria, is concerned. How many of us, how many of them are free in our nation? So at the end of the day, we just find ourselves, moving around the same circle. And then, if you say I am corrupt in this angle, then what about you? I will expose you like this. At the end of the day, you see, Allison-Madueke remain where she is today, and then look at the kind of news that greeted us today. So it's just unfortunate.
It is.
And like I said in our last show, the youth of this nation need to wake up. The youth of this nation need to know that what we are talking about is about their tomorrow, when they will be 60 years, 70 years old, and then they will see their children throwing stones at them. People that think that they are benefiting from corruption today, so they are enjoying themselves, so go to hell with whatever any person is saying. Tomorrow, they will be riding on bicycles, and their children will be throwing stones at them. As I'm talking to what I'm saying now, it is happening already.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's happening already. Thank you very much. Let me end
this. Vincent, before you go, I want to ask you, what do you think a proper war on corruption in Nigeria would look like? If a government that wants to really sincerely, because you talked about that government doesn't look serious about corruption, that's a message they are sending to the international community, like the UK. If a government that wants to, for what do you think will be seeing them do? Yes. Now, first and foremost, institutions don't build themselves. It's human beings that build institutions. These human beings can be found among us. There are people that the noise that they have made in this country has been so loud that it is enough for them to be given an opportunity, because it requires human beings to build the institutions that we are talking about. So what I'm saying in essence is that if we are serious about fighting corruption in Nigeria, it requires sincerity on the part of government, and for this same government to identify the right people to be trusted, to build institutions, and then for the same people to be supported by the government. Not a situation where and Akpotive is appointed as EFCC chairman tomorrow, and then we have a situation where politicians and all the rest of them are threatening him, and then the government just look the other way. So the government has to identify the right people, empower them, and also give them all the necessary support. So that's what I think, that because everything still lies on the part of the government. And of course, the government in the first place have to be one headed by people of impeccable character. And I still insist that we have such persons among us in our Nigerian society.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, Vincent, thank you very much for your time. Totally appreciate you calling in. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, Andy, what do you think about what he said?
No, it makes a lot of sense. It makes
points.
a lot of sense.
Yeah,
a lot of sense regarding it. And this is what I've been talking about. It's about the system. It's about the system. If you fixed the system, then you would have addressed corruption. And the system would be run by humans, by people who have impeccable character, who are people who have proven integrity, who are people who have got a name to protect, who are people who are not given to frivolities, who are people who are not given to the mundane, the things that are ordinary, the things that Brother Paul will say that are of no value, the things that can be seen are not of any value, but the things which cannot be seen are of eternal value. Such things like integrity, such things like excellence, such things like love for country. These things cannot be seen, and once you got those people into positions of authority, you would find that the country will start working again. It's like a pilot, for instance, Kofi. If you got somebody who is an engineer and you put him behind the wheels to fly a plane from Lagos to Port Harcourt, Trust me, even though he's best at engineering, he would not be able to fly the plane. But if you got a pilot, and you put him behind the wheels to fly a plane, because he's got the training, because he's got the mien, he's got the attitude, he's got the disposition, to fly a plane, he would be able to take the plane from location 1 to location 2, bearing any kind of eventuality that may happen. Even if certain things happen, you would see that he would still be able to navigate his way through it to safety. This is exactly what we are talking about in the country. We must identify such men who are indeed pilots to be able to fly this plane from location 1 to location Uhuru.
And I like your description. It's very appealing, but I'm afraid. Andy, I'm afraid. Why am I afraid? And I don't have as high hopes as you do, or a utopian vision like you do. I wish that could happen. But how many times, Andy Akpotive, have we had people who are so-called technocrats? We talk about technocrats. Oh, we need round pegs in round hole, not a square peg in a round hole. Someone said. We need the right people to man, not career politicians. Let's look at state governors, for instance. We've had several state governors who came from the professional fields. Medical doctors, banking, executives, lawyers, trade union leaders, even pastors. And they get to these places, and what do we see? So are we going to get these people, this person you're talking about? Because we're talking about the right people.
Yes.
People who have a passion for Nigeria.
Yes.
People who have a vision, not for their private bank account, not for their family's welfare, but for a better Nigeria. Selfless leaders.
Yes.
People who are ready to sacrifice it and are ready to leave empty-handed as long as Nigeria wins at the end of the day.
Yes. So,
do we have such people in this country?
Yes. So, Kofi, there are a lot of those people. Once upon a time, an angel said to a certain man that if I can but find this number of people in this city, I would not destroy this city. The angel reduced it to a lower number. If I would find this, I would not destroy the city. Now, where am I going to? The angel indeed found people. So, there are people, even within the corridors of power today. You still find somebody who is the governor of Borno State. You still find somebody who is a Sheyi Makinde. Very recently, you still find somebody who is, an Ayade, for instance. So I'm calling on the names of these leaders because they are not the regular. It is not a complete departure.
I can't believe you.
It's not a complete departure. Kofi,
the names you are calling.
Yes. So there's a market.
Andy, I'm choking.
Have you seen what has happened in Oyo State, for instance? Have you seen what's happening in Borno State, for instance? A governor who came and understood from the very first day
Andy, I heard
his responsibilities are as a governor.
Andy, wait, hold on. I heard you mention Zulum
Yes.
of Borno State.
Yes.
Sheyi Makinde of is it Oyo State?
Of Oyo State, Ibadan.
Ayade of Cross River State.
Yes.
And you made my lungs burst out in laughter.
Why?
Because it's not, we're used to this. How can you have such blind not blind faith? Blind faith means you wholeheartedly believe that these guys are angels as far as nation.
So you were not listening to me.
No, are you saying
complete departure?
you're saying these people are the kind of leaders in Nigeria? Have you been to Cross River State?
That's not what I'm saying.
I want you to go online.
Kofi, you are putting words in my mouth.
You mentioned
if you just allowed me.
So okay, before you go, what would you say about Shetima?
The past governor in Borno State. Mm-hmm. So, if you were comparing,
I think was it the immediate past governor?
Yes, it's the immediate past governor.
Yeah.
If you were comparing Shetima with Zulum, if you asked me my personal opinion, I would say to you is that it's like night and day.
Okay. So what are you praising Zulum for?
Because if you saw his personality, if you saw his attitude to government and governance, you understood that this person came here not to enrich himself essentially, but to be different.
How?
From the
How?
very
How?
first day
How?
Zulu got there,
Uh-huh.
go see the schools that he's been building.
Okay.
He understands indeed
I put them
what
up
it
on my
means.
Twitter today.
Yes. Go see the schools
Solar
he's been
factory?
building. Yes. Go see all that
Solar
Zulum.
factory?
Go see all what Zulum has been doing.
Andy, is this the first time where, I mean, how many times have
Absolutely, this is the first time.
Andy,
We are getting a
Andy,
governor in our
hold on.
country.
How many times have you been so hopeful of a Nigerian governor, and then poof, your hopefulness was deflated, and it transformed into a colossal disappointment? How many times?
Yes, so Kofi.
No, how many times?
No, Kofi, I'm coming. So,
No, sir.
So,
How many times?
Kofi, my
Is it one, twice,
My interest
3
is
times?
is like that of God, and God says, "Can we find
Because
a man?"
this
and God
praise
says, "Can
that
we find a
you are
man?"
having for these governors, my brother, it's how many times have you been disappointed?
So, Kofi, my interest essentially is like that of God, who says, "Can we find a man? If we can find a man, then I would do this." I'm saying that we are not utterly, completely all bad people, even in position of authority. We have seen
I agree.
a certain class of people
I agree.
come into leadership authority, and they fared way better than a lot of their successors. For instance, during the presidency of Olusegun Obasanjo, you saw how that he brought likes of Magnus Kpako. You saw how that he brought
Magnus Kpako?
Yes, Magnus Kpako. Who was the then
Napep?
Napep? Yes, Napep man.
Don't you know the scandals that he left?
I'm coming. I'm
Wait.
coming.
You see, this is what I'm talking about.
We're talking about technocrats.
Do you know? Okay, you're talking about technocrats, and that's the question I asked. Andy, do you know the scandals he left in his wake?
What scandals?
And Napep.
Kofi, who, for instance?
Oh, Google it, bro.
Yes,
no, you were trying to show me Zulum.
Kofi, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Who, for instance, would you say, whether in Nigeria or outside Nigeria, is without blemish?
No, you want that comes to equity. A corrupt person can't fight corruption.
We're not going to get an angel, Kofi. We're not going to get an angel today. It's going to be a gradual process. We are going to be building from the very worst in our society.
And you painted a picture of the way the fight against corruption should be.
Yes.
And what you'd like to see, or the kind of people you think can change this country. And what you will be seeing when a government that wants to really fight corruption comes in, or a leader,
he will do certain structural
and it will be a certain kind of person.
Yes, certain structural.
And then you're talking about
you're
talking about technocrats, and
yes.
I'm saying that one too many times we've had technocrats in positions of authority in Nigeria, and they have disappointed. For instance, DIEZANI Allison-Madueke is a technocrat.
So, Kofi,
I remember when DIEZANI came in, she was posted to Minister of, I think, Transportation, one of those other ministries. For instance, the former Minister of Finance, what's her name? Kemi Adeosun, was a technocrat, but he saw the fiasco. She left in a trail. Magnus Kpako, you're talking about.
What fiasco? What fiasco did? Oh, what fiasco did she leave?
Bros, you know this country?
Yes, she did not run the economy well.
No.
She had a WAEC issue. She had
NYSC.
an NYSC issue. Yeah, so
and
was,
you know, as
anybody, that was the fiasco.
Anybody.
That's what you tell. That's what you tell me fiasco. You would rather have somebody who is a bricklayer run your economy with an NYSC certificate that is really very original and functional, compared to Ekemi Adeosun or Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala run your economy without.
I can't believe you, Andy.
No,
I can't believe you. Andy, I will have a bricklayer with integrity run this country, run the Ministry of Finance, than somebody who has gone to the best schools in the UK, who has no integrity and cannot tell the truth about the credentials. So yes, by God I will.
So what is integrity, Kofi?
Integrity is not lying about your NYSC credentials. It's not getting a fake NYSC discharge certificate and presenting it as authentic. It means you lack integrity.
I don't want to. Kofi, I don't want to make it.
You quoted the Bible, Andy.
Yes, Kofi, I don't want to.
The Bible says, in I end this by saying, Bible says a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. So anyone who can lie about even the most minute of things cannot be trusted, to have integrity when it comes to your national caucus.
So if you are done, let me quote my mentor, a reverend in Nigeria, who had said that what we need in Nigeria is not someone who is a saint, essentially. If you got a Ferrari, you took delivery of a Ferrari, a brand new Ferrari, and the Ferrari got spoiled on 3rd Mainland Bridge, you would not need a saint, quote and unquote, to come and fix the Ferrari. You would need a Ferrari mechanic to come and fix the Ferrari, regardless. Kofi, I'm going somewhere. Regardless of whether the Ferrari mechanic was a saint or not, there comes a time in the evolution of a country when you are particular about certain things. Even in the Bible, who would you say had or has integrity?
Jesus Christ.
Is it? So Jesus was not all about the Bible. The Bible started with us knowing certain men of faith, like Abraham, with us knowing certain men of valor, like David, with us knowing certain men. Would you say that these men were without blemish? No. But God used them to perform certain things in the dispensation that God wanted them to perform. So the point I'm making exactly without preaching, Kofi, the point I'm making exactly is that indeed what we need in Nigeria is a Makinde who says, I want to fight corruption and I'm going to let out my own. And I'm coming. Kofi.
Was it you who tweeted that you said you can carry your bag for him?
Yes. If you knew Makinde and I'm putting it on air, I would resign my appointment today, everything that I am doing today, and go carry bag for a Sheyi Makinde for the next. If he's going to serve for 4 years, for the next 4 years of his term, you know why?
And also for Zulum and Ayade.
You know why I would do that?
No,
I've not said.
No. You mentioned Ayade.
No, I've not said, because there are reasons.
Zulum and Ayade.
You would allow me explain the reasons.
All right.
Sheyi Makinde says he wants to fight corruption, and he said, I am going to declare my assets. He did not say, I want to fight corruption and I am going to do it the way Nigerians have been doing it. He said, this is what I'm worth. He said, go and find out. That for me is what is integrity. A Sheyi Makinde is a man who has defied the law of gravity in Nigeria regarding governance. So if you ask me, because I've been following him, I can say to you that indeed is somebody that I can carry back for. What we need in Nigeria, Kofi, contrary to what you believe, is not a saint like we say that our current president have, or it's not the kind of integrity that our current president have.
I am
what
not
we
saying,
need in Nigeria is capacity.
I am not saying
to be able to deliver the best of governance to the people, and not integrity.
And I am saying
not just integrity.
One too many times we've had people who are the so-called technocrats that you're talking about. We've had people who have the so-called capacity you're talking about to fix a Ferrari that you're talking about, to make things work in Nigeria. But time and time again, these people fail. We've had people from the medical field
Kofi, I asked a question.
become governors. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me.
Who would you call?
You're saying
pastor?
We've had people who are technocrats, brother. We've had people who are medical doctors, who are technocrats, who are people with a track record in the private sector, and they came into office and they've been able to secure perpetual injunctions for themselves that nobody can lay a finger on them, no court can try them ever in their life till they die. What are we talking about, my brother?
So you're missing the point, Kofi. This is what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that today in this country, at this level of evolution that we are at in this country, we do not essentially need as topmost amongst the qualities of a leader integrity.
So we need integrity. We need integrity.
We do. But what I'm saying
is that, do we not need integrity?
We do. But I'm saying,
is it half integrity?
No, I'm saying
1/4.
What we need
100% integrity.
What we need topmost is capacity. When God was looking for somebody
but lack
to
of
rescue,
lack of integrity.
God was looking for somebody to rescue Israel. He knew the heart of David.
Andy, lack of
But
integrity
he
is why we are
understood
here. We
that-
are
he
to
understood-
Andy.
he
Andy,
understood that
this is a very controversial statement from you.
It would take no.
You are saying we don't need leaders with integrity.
No. I am
No,
saying
you are saying
that
you're saying we don't.
No,
Okay,
you are putting words
You-
as a
no,
journalist.
you-
I understand what you are
this is
doing
what-
as a
no,
journalist,
no, no,
but you are
no,
putting
no,
words in my mouth. I'm not
No,
saying we do not
this
need
is what
leaders
you're
with integrity.
saying.
I'm saying that integrity is not topmost. What we need
I don't-
topmost is capacity to deliver.
Andy, we're talking about fighting corruption in here in Nigeria.
Yes.
Integrity, either you have it or you don't. So, do we need leaders with integrity or not?
Kofi, it's no gainsaying it that we certainly need leaders who have got integrity.
Uh-huh.
But I'm saying to you for the opt-in time that as much as we desire, as much as we crave leaders that have integrity, integrity must not be what is topmost in our schedule,
or skill of preference.
On our scale of preference, for
So,
instance.
so someone
What
you want
must be
capacity,
topmost, yes.
capacity to do what?
What must capacity to deliver
Deliver what?
or deliver on
Deliver
the
what?
askings of your position.
No.
The capacity to
Namely-
deliver. For
namely-
instance, Kofi, it didn't matter whether you were a priest, whether you had integrity. You would not be able to do what you are doing with me tonight
Okay.
if you did not have the training,
All right.
if you did not have the capacity
So,
to be able to
I want to find
work
out.
as a journalist.
In terms of what we're talking about here, which is DIEZANI Allison-Madueke's issue and corruption, do we need leaders with capacity to fight corruption or integrity?
I explained to you, Kofi. It didn't even matter whether you
Okay,
had. Kofi,
no, I'm trying to understand. When you say capacity, we're talking about fighting corruption in
Yes.
Nigeria, systemic corruption,
Yes.
and changing the whole, fixing the whole system.
Yes.
And you're saying integrity is not the number one thing you need.
Yes.
You need to have capacity.
Yes.
But if you don't have integrity, you don't have the capacity to fight corruption.
That's not true. Completely wrong.
If you don't
There are
have- what-
there are people with a lot of integrity without capacity. And you should know this, Kofi.
No,
There are a lot of people
I'm not
with
saying I'm not
integrity without
I'm not
capacity.
saying if you have integrity, you have capacity. No, I'm saying you don't have the capacity to fight corruption if you don't have integrity.
That's not true.
As one of your traits.
That's not true.
Because it takes a amount of integrity to fight corruption.
That's not true.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So a corrupt man can fight corruption.
So I'm saying to you that even if you took this
Because a corrupt man will be corrupt.
if you took this conversation to a higher level, a criminal understands how to block certain loopholes within a system. Do you know that in certain countries, those who are great hackers, who hack systems, they are taken into their institutions.
Okay.
They're
So,
taken into FBI.
Uh-huh.
They're taken into CIA.
Uh-huh.
They're taken into their institutions.
so when they go, do they still continue to hack
the point
the
is,
banks?
the point is,
Do they going to hack,
No, the
hack
point- the point- the point-
institutions?
the point I'm
or
making-
do they transform into ethical
Kofi,
hackers?
Kofi, can you let me-
Okay,
can
all
you-
right,
can you
all
let me
right.
explain? The
all
point
right,
I'm
okay,
making is,
okay.
over a period of time, you can have conditioned integrity. Conditioned integrity. You cannot have conditioned capacity. The ambience, the atmosphere that you are operating within, that you are operating under, plays a long role at conditioning your integrity. That's why there are thieves who can become bankers tomorrow. The atmosphere that they are operating within would condition them, because men with capacity already developed controls that makes it impossible for them to steal.
So now I come back to what I said before when he talked about the procurement council.
Yes.
You're talking about controls.
Yes.
You're talking about systems.
Yes.
What happens when? Because this is the point I'm trying to make, that the people who are meant to be controlled by the system control the system. The people who are meant to operate under certain checks and balances create the rules, and therefore they can bend them to suit themselves, and there's nothing you can do about it. The president of Nigeria has absolute powers. Governors are shahs; they can do whatever they want. Now, I was so impressed when I realized and I learned and I saw how the mayor of Washington, D.C., which is not a state, but it will soon become a state in America, was able to defy Donald Trump. I never knew. I thought it was like our own FCT here, where Trump is the head of Washington, D.C., the president of America. The mayor of Washington, D.C. defied Donald Trump. When they brought in some uniformed people who were armed to the teeth, but they didn't have any sign or any name tag, she said, who are these people who have come into our city? We don't know them. They're not National Guard. They're not police. They're not FBI. They're not CIA. Who are they? We don't want them in our city. She renamed 16th Avenue Black Lives Matter Plaza. And gave, so I'm saying that there, the people, the president, for instance, does not have absolute powers.
Because
they have proper good. So I'm saying here, right now, it will take a man of integrity to recreate the system that will check him. And the people who have the capacity, who are there but don't have integrity, are not going to create that system to check themselves because they don't want to be checked.
So, Kofi.
So they will use sense to hoodwink you. And then they will be smiling on the outside, but you don't know what is happening on the inside. And when they leave, you hear the scandals that are following them, then you get disappointed.
So, Kofi,
so all this Zulum and Ayade and Makinde you are eulogizing, be careful. So don't be too confident.
Yes, so Kofi, who are the people who created the Procurement Act? Are they not Nigerian politicians? Please go take a look at the Procurement Act. They have refused, like the Child Act, the Child Rights Act. They have refused to domesticate it.
Fantastic.
But they created it.
Fantastic.
You know why they refuse to domesticate it?
Mm-hmm.
They refuse because they understand that that's the system that can check corruption at procurement level. Every kind of corruption you see in our country today starts and ends with procurement. If you fixed procurement, you would have fixed over 80% corruption issue in our country. 80% of all the procurement you are seeing, they want to buy this NDDC they've been building for over how many years now because of procurement. If you allowed separate separate people who are charged with the responsibility to do the procurement, who have the expertise to do that thing, you would find that we would be able to be delivering to the people what is expected. I am not saying that integrity is not important.
You're saying it's not a paramount thing.
You that on your scale of preference,
it's not number one.
If you were going to fix a country, if you were going to fly a plane from Abuja to Lagos, you won't be looking for a bishop. You won't be looking for a bishop. By the way, is a man who is blameless.
Have you heard of
faultless, without sin? Have you
heard of integrity test?
Absolutely. I did a lot of it when I was a control officer in the bank.
What is integrity test? I
conducted a lot of integrity tests on people.
That
which you would use to challenge the integrity of the people that are working with you.
I understand where you're coming from, but we don't agree on this. However, we'll take a break, and then when we come back, we'll say goodbye. Please stay with us. It's still Late Night Talk. All right, welcome back. It's still Late Night Talk. I must apologize for that breaking transmission, but we have to say goodbye to you. Andy Akpotive is still here, and I want to say thank you very much. And Andy, before you go, what does this say about women and their role in politics in one sentence? And all the talk about if women become, leaders, but political leaders and all that, it's uhuru.
So like I've been saying, it's not about the gender. It's about the people who have got the capacity to deliver, whether they are men or whether they are women, so long as you've got the capacity to deliver, I think that you should just be brought in to fix our country. You are not interested in the person who was flying you, if he was a man or a woman. You were interested in the qualification of the person. Oh, this woman, does she have the qualification to fly the plane? If she has got the qualification, you were comfortable to fly with her. This man, does he have the qualification to fly the plane? If he has got the qualification, then you were comfortable to fly with him. So I think that all of these things about men and women is pedestrian, is destructive. What we should be focusing on as a people and as a country is men and women with capacity to deliver on whatever it is that we challenge them with. Once we are able to find any of these people, once we're able to find a man who has got capacity, once we're able to find a woman who has got capacity, then we must put these people in leadership position. It's only then that we can fix the country. Jesus came to this world. He never was interested only in men. Even though he's got 12 disciples, they were men, they were women also who walked with him. We regarded, we respected. In Mary, in Martha, they were women.
So it's not about your sex.
Yes, so it's regardless of your sex. It's not about
right.
your sex. Once you've got capacity, you are good to go and to take on any role, any responsibility that is given to you. I look forward to a time when a leader, regardless of the gender, whether man or woman, with capacity, will be the president of the country. I look forward to a time when a leader, whether with integrity or no integrity, whether a male or a female, with capacity, like with Seyi Makinde, will be the governor of a state, will be a senator or one of the senators representing a state, will be one of the members of the houses of representative, will be one of the members of the House of Assembly.
I admire your faith in the politicians. I admire your faith in the leaders. I admire your faith in those who have shown some, like you say, capacity. But I'm happy you say capacity and integrity are very important.
Yes, you are not looking for a doctor who has got integrity to do a surgery on you, Kofi. You are looking for a doctor.
Integrity means so many things. Even the ability to work is also integrity.
Kofi, you did not bother whether
even the capacity
before he came to the
even the capacity to do your work and to do what you say you will do is also integrity.
Kofi, well. You did not bother whether the doctor smoked, whether the doctor drank wine before he got into the test. So long as he had the surgery on you, it was a fine surgery. Prognosis was perfect. You always would want to use that same surgeon, because whether the surgeon was smoking or was drinking burukutu, it wouldn't matter to you. What would matter to you is that this surgeon is one who, when you give him the knife, he delivers on appendectomy. Once you give him the knife, he delivers on myomectomy. Once you give him the knife,
let's put our hands together for Andy Akpotive, the microcosm in the macrocosm. My name is Kofi Bartels. That's been late. Andy, thank you very much. We've totally enjoyed having you on the show today.
My pleasure.
And we'll keep talking about these issues. Thank God it was not a political oporombium.
Yes.
My name is Kofi Bartels. His name is Andy Akpotive. Once again, good night.
Thank you so much.